This next story, it's a Virginia story that is really making national headlines. A teen shot and killed after entering his neighbor's home in the middle of the night. The shooter says he thought the boy was an intruder, while the teen's friends say it was all just a tragic mistake. Joining me now to break down the legal implications of the case is our good friend and legal expert, Todd Stone. Todd, great to see you. Thanks so much for coming in.
Good
Todd, this is a tragic case of mistaken identity. Are there any laws in the books clarifying what a person can and cannot do when it comes to protecting themselves?
Yeah, I think the thing that makes this seem so tragic is that he went in mistakenly and that he had an innocent state of mind. And normally you don't see that when we're talking about an intruder in the nighttime. But it's not the state of mind of the intruder that matters when it comes to self-defense. It's the state of mind of the homeowner. And so the homeowner in this case, if he had a reasonable fear of death or serious bodily injury, then he has the same right to use deadly force to defend himself as anybody would anywhere. And so, and when somebody breaks into your home in the middle of the night, there's sort of an assumption that this is for no good, right? I mean, and that they're going to do harm to you. So yeah, it's pretty easy to establish it when it occurs inside your own home.
Have there been any attempts to actually clarify the laws that are on the books and maybe change the law?
Yeah, well, there's something called a castle doctrine, and that applies in many different states throughout the United States, not in Virginia. In Virginia, this right to defend yourself is one that has been formed at common law. So it's case law that has defined the right to defend yourself over the years in Virginia. In fact, last year, there were some legislators who attempted to pass a castle doctrine in Virginia, which would give the homeowners a right to defend yourself in your own home, but the gun advocate groups actually spoke against that, which is kind of counterintuitive, but they spoke against it and they didn't want it passed because in Virginia there is already so many rights to defend yourself when there's an intruder in your home. They're at common law. They're not written out in a statute like would be the case in a castle doctrine, but we don't have a castle doctrine in Virginia. That didn't pass last year.
Why wouldn't that pass?
Because the gun rights advocates, Virginia is a big gun state, and they actually didn't want it because they thought it would make the rights more narrow for the homeowner, because the particular law as it was written required that the intruder must commit some overt act before the shots fired to defend yourself, and that's currently not really the case in Virginia. Under common law, if you have a reasonable fear of death or serious bodily injury, then you have a right to use deadly force, and it's established at common law.
30 seconds left here, Todd. Tell us, the parents came out today, the parents of the dead teenager, and basically forgave the shooter, the neighbor, because of what he did, because it was a case of mistaken identity. Will that have any implications on the case?
Well, a prosecutor will probably take a look at this and make a firm decision about whether to charge. I would be really, really surprised if the homeowner's charged in this case. So it really doesn't have much implication in terms of legal ramifications, what the family wants. The fact of the matter is a homeowner has a right to defend themselves if they have a reasonable fear of serious bodily harm or death, and I don't think there's any way around it in this case.
Legal expert Todd Stone, thank you so much for your insight. We appreciate it.
Happy to be here.